Am I paranoid or did apartment 402 have a secret? I'm a 28-year-old guy, and I've lived in noisy cities all my life. You know the type, where the world never sleeps, and the streets hum with 1,000 stories. That was my rhythm until I moved to a quieter neighborhood. My new place, apartment 401, was right across from 402, which seemed as silent as a forgotten story. It was quaint, affordable, and had a view of an old park. Peaceful, right? But then the whispers started. It began one typical night while I was watching shows. A whisper slipped through the silence, so faint I thought I'd imagined it. But it persisted, growing desperate over time. It seemed to come from outside my door, but every time I checked the peephole, nothing. The corridor was always empty. One eerie night, the whispers turned into a clear plea for help. Heart pounding, I found the courage to check apartment 402, which stood ajar. It mirrored my own but was abandoned, covered in a layer of neglect and cold shadows. That's where I found them, old Polaroid pictures scattered like forgotten memories, all showing the park's swing set. Each had a cloaked figure lurking in the background, its face indiscernible. Chilled to the bone, I decided to take the photos to the police, but then the room turned icy, the door slammed shut, and everything went silent. I moved out soon after that. I still wonder about those whispers and that figure. The weirdest part. When I tried to show the Polaroids to a friend, the figure was gone, as if it was never there. So, tell me, am I paranoid, or was apartment 402 hiding something sinister?
Hey, you there, please leave a like if you want more of those, thanks.
Is my childhood home haunted, or is my mind playing tricks? I'm a 30-year-old woman who recently moved back into my childhood home after my parents decided to travel the world in their retirement. It's a quaint, two-story house in a small town, surrounded by woods. The kind of place filled with memories, both good and bad. The first few nights were uneventful. The house, with its creaky floors and old windows, felt nostalgic. However, things started to change when I found an old toy of mine in the attic, a porcelain doll I named Lily. That night, I heard the sound of laughter coming from the attic. It was soft, almost like a whisper, but unmistakably a child's laughter. The laughter didn't stop. Night after night, it grew louder, more pronounced. I searched the house, thinking maybe some neighborhood kids were playing a prank. But the laughter only occurred when I was alone, and always from the attic. One evening, determined to confront this mystery, I went to the attic. There, I found Lily sitting in the middle of the room, her eyes seeming to follow me. I picked her up, and the laughter stopped immediately, replaced by a cold silence. As I turned to leave, I noticed something in the corner, a small, hidden door I had never seen before. Behind the door was a tiny, forgotten room. Inside, there were dozens of old toys and children's drawings, all covered in dust. In the center of the room was a photo of a little girl I didn't recognize, holding Lily. I took the photo to my neighbors, hoping for some explanation. They told me about the family that lived in the house before us. A little girl had vanished without a trace. They never found her, and the family moved away, heartbroken. Since discovering the room, the laughter has stopped. But sometimes, I feel a chill pass through the house, and I wonder if the little girl is still here, somehow connected to Lily. I've decided to keep the doll and the photo in the attic, hoping it brings her some peace. So, what do you think? Is my childhood home haunted, or is my mind playing tricks on me because of the stress of moving?
Did I go too far in exposing the truth? I'm a 34-year-old man married to my wife who's 32-year-old for 8 years. We've had our ups and downs, but nothing prepared me for what happened last month. It started with small changes in her behavior. She became more guarded with her phone, had late-night work calls, and was often distracted. Concerned, I asked if everything was okay. She assured me it was just work stress. One day, she left her laptop open to emails that confirmed my worst fears: she was having an affair with her coworker. I was devastated. The person I trusted most in the world had betrayed me. Instead of confronting her immediately, I decided to gather more evidence. I documented everything, from text messages to secret meetups I followed her to. It felt like I was in a spy movie, but with a breaking heart. Armed with undeniable proof, I confronted her. She broke down, admitting everything and begging for forgiveness. She claimed it was a mistake, that she felt neglected and sought comfort elsewhere. Instead of deciding on the spot, I took a few days to think. Then, I did something that might be controversial. I sent all the evidence to her affair partner's wife. I thought she deserved to know the truth as much as I did. The aftermath was explosive. My wife was furious that I involved someone else, claiming I'd ruined multiple lives, but part of me felt justified. The truth deserved to come out, didn't it? Now, I'm here, sharing my story, wondering if I took the right step. My marriage is in shambles, but is honesty always the best policy? Or did I go too far in seeking revenge by exposing the truth?
Did I cross the line standing up to my boss? I'm a 29-year-old software developer, 29M, and I've always believed in hard work and integrity. My boss, however, has always pushed the boundaries of what I'm comfortable with. Let's call him Greg. Greg is the kind of guy who believes the ends justify the means, even if it involves cutting corners. We were working on a major project, one that could make or break our company. The pressure was immense, and Greg started pushing for us to implement solutions that I knew were unethical and could potentially harm our users. I couldn't stand by and watch. After a particularly heated team meeting where Greg dismissed my concerns, I decided to take a stand. I wrote a detailed email to the company's board, outlining my concerns with the project's direction under Greg's leadership. The next day, the atmosphere at work was electric with tension. Greg called me into his office, his face an unreadable mask. He had received a call from the board, and they wanted a full review of the project's ethics and practices. Greg was furious, accusing me of betrayal and overstepping. In the days that followed, I questioned my decision. I believed in what I did, but the backlash was more than I had anticipated. My colleagues were divided, some admired my courage, while others saw me as a troublemaker. The project underwent significant changes to align with ethical standards, and Greg was put on leave pending an investigation. I felt vindicated but also isolated. Standing up for what's right had cost me friendships and my comfort at work. Now, as I share this story, I wonder if I crossed a line. Was standing up to my boss and risking my career worth it? I hope my actions inspire others to do the right thing, but at what cost to oneself?
The unlikely friend I made on my commute. I'm a 27-year-old graphic designer, 27F, working in the bustling city of San Francisco. My daily commute on the bus was the least exciting part of my day, until I met Kevin, a 75-year-old retired school teacher. It was a typical foggy morning when I first noticed Kevin. He was arguing with the bus driver about a lost ticket, his face red with frustration. Without thinking, I paid his fare. He grumbled a thanks and sat down next to me. I didn't expect anything more than that. To my surprise, Kevin was on the same bus the next day and the next. He insisted on paying me back, which I refused. Instead, we started talking. I learned about his passion for history, his days in the classroom, and his late wife's love for art. Our conversations became the highlight of my commute. A few weeks into our unlikely friendship, Kevin handed me a small, wrapped package. Inside was a vintage fountain pen, with my name engraved on it. He said it reminded him of one his wife had cherished. I was speechless. Kevin and I continued our bus rendezvous until I changed jobs and no longer took that route. But the lessons I learned from him, about kindness, listening, and the stories that shape us, have stayed with me. A year later, I saw Kevin again, this time at a local art exhibit I had helped design. He was as spirited as ever, and we spent the day catching up as if no time had passed. That unexpected friendship on my commute taught me more about life than I could have imagined. It showed me that sometimes it's the small acts of kindness that lead to the most meaningful connections.
Hey, you made it to the end. Please consider subscribing if you enjoyed and want more. Also leave a comment about what you thought of the stories. Till next time, thanks for watching.